Punch Boxing News. I know this is rather sporadic. I did mention that I would try to come on at 2 o'clock. So I'm just setting stuff up. I'll let you guys load in. Um, I'm still rather on quarantine. So I just been taking it easy, man. But yeah. I made this live stream for you guys. The one on the chat. So the one on the chat, whoever you are, can you hit the like button? Because we got one on the chat and we have 0 likes. So if you will, hit the like button. Oh God. When you guys come in, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. um, but no, I named this stream because of Robert Garcia, and I just finished up a interview that he was talking about yesterday. Um, so the one in the chat was me, Michael Buffer. Counterpunch to you. The one in the chat was me. That's what's up, Michael. And he's made a lot of headlines for what he's saying now about how the camp went. He kind of semi revealed what happened in the camp, you know? And I just think it's I don't know. To me, I feel that that was rather too revealing, you know? And I can see why Anthony Joshua did it. Now, was this warranted? Why was Joshua, pissed off? And the thing is, why did Robert Garcia, why did he leave? Mm, correction. Why did he want to leave? You know? And if you heard the whole thing, and I don't know if you guys heard the whole thing. If you guys haven't, I could play it for you. Of course, we'll let the chat populate. Okay. And we'll let the chat populate. We'll let, you guys come on so you guys can hear it. That's if you haven't heard it, because I had little clips on it, but I want it done in its entirety. Okay. Because one thing I've learned about any media or any interview or whatever anybody says, you can take things out of context. You can take like this part of it and then use only that part and then make a whole video on that one part. Or you can listen to the whole damn thing and make a nice and rational decision about what the whole bulk of the story or the interview was about. We got Soul live in this piece. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you, member in the building. The Grimlock in the piece. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Pedlin Paul says, work's supposed to be hard and fun. It either wasn't hard enough or fun enough. I mean, according to Robert, though, he's supposed to have been so strong, so fast, worked so hard. You remember that? And so I don't really understand what the big deal was about it not being what it's supposed to be. Like, now we're hearing all this, I wanted to leave and this, that, and the other. But I just don't get it, man. I just don't really understand. what the whole like the disruption was about. Because I can't imagine if it was that bad, why would you want to continue with a fighter? Why would you even want, to be a part of that fighter's camp again? H Town Reppa. Safe to say, if AJ beat Usyk the second fight, Garcia would not said anything about issues during the camp. He would have said camp was great and I wish I was working with him again. H Town Rapper, he said, this is what he did say though. He said the camp was great, but he did say what was wrong with he did say he wanted to leave the camp, but he did say he wanted to work with AJ again. So I don't see, if it was that bad, why would you want to work with somebody again? You know, that's my thing. You had all that to say, but then you're like, hey, I'm not going to lie. I want him to work. I want to work with him again in the States. I mean, you kind of draw your own conclusion with that. You know? So I'll get at least 50 in here, and then a matter of fact, I'm going to load up to see if I can play it for you guys. Where's my speaker? You guys got to forgive, like the trash truck is coming to pick up the cat from the trash outside. But I do agree. See, if AJ would have if he would have won, you wouldn't have heard anything. You wouldn't have heard anything about anything. But I think that kind of goes to say on both sides. I think if AJ would have won, I think he would have praised he would have praised Robert Garcia. But then since he didn't win, and he started with that whole shit show, it's hard to say. Topentine or Topentine. Robert Garcia is an irresponsible coach. He never owned his fighter. The fight was the fight, not the outcome. That is very irresponsible. Sugar would say, "I want Fury too." Um, he never owned his fighter. You got a point with that. He didn't. You didn't see him do anything. You guys know why I have so much respect for Malik Scott is because even though Malik Scott was training Wilder and he's 1-1 with Wilder, one loss from the Fury fight, one win from the Hellenius fight. Do you know why I have respect for Malik Scott? Is because Malik Scott owned his fighter. He didn't sugarcoat. He didn't sit there passive and not say shit. He gave his fighter instruction. Okay? He did his job. He did his job thoroughly. Kurt, do you think AJ can and ever will become champ again? Yeah, he will. He's young enough, unless he quits. You know what I mean? And I don't. Here's my thing about AJ. I don't think AJ, if he loses again, I don't think he's past quitting. I think he would quit. I don't think Eddie Hearn would have to not promote him no more. I just think he would quit. I think he would just say, you know what, 4 losses, fuck it, I'm done. I lost to Jermaine Franklin. There's no need for me to ever want to fight any of these fucking guys. I never fought these guys, but I can't fight or beat him, so I must not be good, or I must not be as good as I think I'm going to be or was. And I think he would quit. I think he would take his money and fucking move to Dubai, where he can hang out with all the rich other cats, Andrew Tate and them. Right? That's what I think will happen. And write a book about his first loss. I believe Robert observed the situation with AJ's camp and then realized his camp was a mess and seen a lot of mistakes AJ made. A lot of people say AJ was a control freak. Maybe that what you saw. I think he was accustomed to getting his way, but if that's the case, you know, um, Robert Garcia, he should have left. And see, I think that guys like Ronnie Shields wasn't falling for that shit. That's why he didn't go with Ronnie Shields. He stayed with Ronnie Shields a minute. Ali, was it James Ali Bashir and those guys, and he was working with AJ and he was working on body punches and shit like that. But he didn't end up going or staying uh, with Ronnie Shields because Ronnie Shields is a guy that gets in your face. You guys want to see a trainer cuss out a fighter? Go check out Ronnie Shields when he was in the corner of David Tua. Go check that out and see what you get. You will see one man cussing another man out. Now, he could have been more instructive, but he was stealing someone's shit. So I think if AJ probably sensed that and he's like, well, no, I don't want something like that. I want something more of what I'm accustomed to. That's probably why he went with Robert, because Robert didn't say much. Robert probably got frustrated, but he passively was like, hey, well, I'm going to tell the team that I don't want to do this. No, you're supposed to tell AJ, like, look, man, you got to get all these fucking guys out of here. You hired me. I ain't hired you. I ain't trying to vouch for this shit. Yeah, the money's here, but yo, no way. AJ is lazy after the fight. He said he was a 6 round fighter when it's a 12 round fight. He's made too much money. Why he ain't hungry no more? Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call him lazy, but I did hear him talking about I'm 18 stones and shit like that. Yeah, that was some bullshit because if that tells us, and I don't know if James Kirkland, Derek James. I don't know if Derek James has actually addressed this to AJ. But see, one thing about guy that trains, he can, especially if it's some CrossFit physical training shit, like that's not the same as fighting 12 rounds at a certain level, at a certain pace. See, AJ may work out and look good and for these X amount of days in training, and people are like, damn, how does he do it? It's easy. It's called fucking muscle memory. But even people with muscle memory, the muscles that they have, it's weight. It's heavier than fat. You can't walk around with that shit or carry it around. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You can't carry that weight around you like that. And that's what and I think when he's getting with these new trainers, and I think these new trainers see like, damn, this dude is really physical because his ability, because everybody has bought into that bullshit that he's just Daniel Dubois, Frank Bruno-ish kind of guy that only knows how to do certain things at a certain pace. But he's showing you that he's doing it at a certain pace. But how long can he do that? That's the big $100 million question. And the answer is about 6 or 7 or 8 rounds. That's why he tried to pace himself in there with Usyk. But it's still mentally draining because you got a guy that's in your face, that's hitting you, that you're not expecting to get hit, win. So your defense ain't where you want it. But that's okay because you're against a guy that's an offensive genius. You're fighting a guy that's that good. In other words, okay, so yeah, he was gonna get hit with shots, so he would kind of pick shots, and boom, he would load up with a right, you know what I mean, and then so he would kind of catch him. He would boom, boom, and then see, here's the thing, which AJ should have realized. AJ should realize ring generalship. Like in 10 minutes of that round, he should have put on some body working activity. If he wanted to learn anything about anybody that's winning the duration or the story of the fight, he should have saw Canelo Alvarez take on Erislandy Lara. Because Lara could touch Canelo whenever he wanted to, but then Canelo found out, like, you know what? I'm just going to work this guy's body because his head's too difficult to hit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to weld his fucking body and bust him up. That's what I'm going to show him because I can't hit anything else. So I'm going to work his body. But here's the problem. AJ didn't have stamina like Canelo. He couldn't. I don't think he could weld shots like that and still have the capacity to do what he was doing throughout the duration of these rounds after rounds after rounds, and then throw a flurry at the end for that 10 seconds. Bah, da, da, bah, 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 bah. You know what I mean? And wherever he tries to go, keep at him. Because then what people do, and this is what I do question judges for. I question if judges know the difference between effective aggressiveness and ineffective aggressiveness. I don't think people know. I don't think people know what that really means. When you're effectively aggressive, you're able to land, and actually these punches count and they hurt. You know, they score. When you're ineffective, they don't. Okay? You're just throwing shots. And I think that's the difference. And AJ was throwing some good body work and good body punishment. He was throwing, the shots he was throwing were good, but guess what? They weren't enough. If I was AJ, I'm like, I can't outbox this motherfucker. I'm going to work his body and break his shit down. I'm going to use my brute strength to break his fucking rib cage. If he happens to win this fight, he ain't gonna worry about fighting no fucking body after this. You know why he ain't? Because his ribs are gonna be fucking broken. I'm gonna break 3 on this side and about 2 on this side. I'm gonna give him a total rib makeover. I'm gonna break his fucking, I'm gonna hurt his, he's gonna have problems breathing when he get out of this ring with me. That's how many times AJ should have hit his ass to the body. The moment Robert Garcia was sharing the stage with another coach, I smelt a rat, and Garcia was a rat. A coach controls the gym, not the other way around. Double AR. AJ ran over to Garcia boxing, not the other way around. Nobody owes AJ a thing. 100 flames. Ronnie Shields cursed out Efe Ajagba too. He should. Because he wasn't doing enough. We would have heard that Garcia gets in someone's face in camp if he never liked the camp. Yeah, we didn't hear any of that though. They all tiptoe around AJ because he's got deep pockets and got the zone behind him. He's got a new contract. AJ can't quit. I mean, I don't know. Let him get whooped and get his ass beat. I beg to differ. I say I beg to differ. X Ace 99X, big up Kurt. What's up? Big up Ace 99X. Double AR. Guy was a gym bodybuilder, not a boxer. AJ has done great. Well, look, it don't matter. Because, see, in my eyes, this is what I look at. I look at someone like Usyk, a smaller guy. I see Usyk tough. Like Lomachenko's tough. You ain't never seen Lomachenko knocked out. You've seen him hurt before. But them dudes don't quit over there. You got to make them quit. You know who makes guys quit? Guys like Berterviev. Better Beeve. That's what I call him. Right? Berterviev made Vosnik quit. How did he do it? He busted his ass up with every shot that he landed him with. Every punch he landed had a thudding blow on it, and he was crucial. Okay, but look, Berterviev is that guy that AJ should have became, but he just wasn't. The stamina wise, he didn't really know what to do or when to do it. Garcia never stood up in the camp to AJ, for crying out loud. A real man would have said something in non-athletic world, not to talk of physical sport. Well, I do agree. I mean, the shit he's saying now, he should have said it to AJ, and if he couldn't say it to AJ, that's more like passive bullshit to me. That's why I don't really like passive people. I know they exist. I know a lot of them are just filled the brim with beta males, that they don't speak for themselves. They'll go tell somebody else. You know, one thing I can't stand when someone says something to me that someone else should have said to me. That shit grinds my gears. And then when I see that person, the first thing I'm gonna say, why the fuck you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? Why did I hear it from this person? Why didn't you tell me yourself? I'm gonna be right there, like, why the fuck didn't you tell me that? Oh man. Oh, or if it's a chick, well, no, it ain't well, motherfucker. You should have told me, you know. So when I hear stuff like that, when I hear people talk and I hear them rant and rave, I wonder, would they still be spilling this beans or just revealing this whatever confession? Would they confess like that if it had been that person right there? And see, and this is one thing that gets me about Robert. Robert comes off as a guy that pretends that he is somewhat of a upstanding badass. Like, oh, I would tell him. I would tell him. I'm like, obviously you didn't. You didn't have much to say. You probably thought that shit like, yeah, this shit here is a real shit show. I can't wait to get this check and go home. If he loses, he loses, and I think he's losing. So shit, what me worry? That's what I got from Robert though. That's what I got from Robert because he's saying all this stuff now. And since I'm glad you guys are here, I got over 50 like I promised. So I'm gonna let you guys hear this whole thing. Okay. So let me all right, let's see. You know what I mean? You know, if I'm always gonna say nothing but good things, let's see here. It's always
Robert, you alluded to it slightly there in terms of you wished that you had the chance to work with AJ in your gym out in California. Is there any sense of frustration that maybe he didn't at least give it one camp with you just to see how you guys could have continued to mold a relationship and what more you might have been able to bring out of him?
No, not at all. You know what? Like I said, that's the way boxing is. I'm still very busy with so many other fights. I mentioned Derek James. With three top fighters that he has. I have, man, 10, 15 top fighters. That I have to work with and I have to focus on. So there's no. I'm actually happy. That he chose to train in the states, even though it's not with me. I think that was the choice he needed to make, and he chose a great trainer, man. I'm not, it's not like he chose somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. Terry James is a very smart trainer, and he makes sure his fighters are always in great shape, and they always have a great game plan. You've seen it with Charlo, you've seen it with Spence, and most recently you've seen it with the lightweight. Man, I can't think of his name. Martin. Yes, his last performance. He knows how to put a game plan together. So I think Anthony did the right thing.
Robert.
So, okay, based on what we saw thus far, or heard rather, um, Joyce will eat Sanchez. You know what? And look, Frank is my boy and everything. I think that'll happen. Frank, Frank he's about to have a child, and I kind of sensed that. I didn't want to say nothing about Sanchez real quick because I did see him get a little tubby. James Bash, what's up, brother? Got to coming in with that super chat in there. It says, "Peace, Kurt. Glad I could catch you live. CPB forever." I like that. You know what? I'm gonna make a shirt with that on it. It's gonna say CPB forever on it. And then I'm just gonna have hashtag counterpunch in this piece. Appreciate you, man. You didn't have to, but you did. But back to Frank, man. Frank was pudgy. He was fat. He was chunky. And listen, whenever I start gaining weight, I start getting nervous. You know why? Because that's the normal thing for any man that, not for any man, but for some men that, get women pregnant, impregnate women. They get bigger. They start like filling in, like they start, I don't know, it's some weird shit, like some not the woman baby weight. It's just guys get this fucking like extra 5-10 pounds on them. And I saw it and I didn't want to say nothing. And I was like, you know what? He is getting chunky. He needs to lose that weight. But I get it. No, you've been laying up. You've been breeding. You've been reproducing. You've been probably overeating. You've probably been eating the similar things that she eats and going out and all that stuff and living high on the hog and then really enjoying the process and the experience of having a child. That's what he's doing right now. And it started back then. See, that started laying up and stuff like that. And Frank probably got lazy, got him some pussy, You know what I mean? Got some loving. And guess what? I think he got chunky. You know? I'm from Hammersmith, Joyce from Putney, West London, guys. Okay, Chrissy. I think Jared Anderson will cause all the heavyweights problems, every single one. Yeah, for a while. For a while. But will he beat everyone? That remains to be seen. Taking nothing away from the kid. It's just like the shit that I saw about Jared Anderson. He still needs a little bit to go. He needs a little bit more improvement. Let's just be real. I mean, he's a good prodigy. Okay, there's a difference. See, these knockouts and stuff will always come and they will always show potential of a fighter. But if those knockouts stop when the opposition raises itself, then we have a problem. Rene Padilla, glad to watch you live, Kurt. It's been a while, brother. Yeah, man, I've been sick, man. I'm still going through it. I'm feeling better. Like I got one of these inhalers now, so I use this probably probably every 4 hours, I think. And it's opened me up, so I haven't been coughing as much. I'm still coughing. Mostly it's in my sleep when I'm laying down. I'm I'm getting to the end of my quarantine, so I'm gonna start running at the stadium, so I can get back. Damn, bro, you get the flu. You get the woo flu. Wesley, the truth. I say it was COVID. I tested positive for COVID, but it's also bronchitis too. So I got a double dose. But anyway, to cover this part on what Robert was talking about, he was like, well, I'm glad that he left or whatever with that because I got so much else to do. I got so many other fighters to do. Well, he always had that. He's had other responsibilities. And I think he wanted AJ, to be fair, to come on over to the States and, so it will be more convenient for him to work with the rest of his fighters and AJ, and they can come together and all of them can either challenge each other and he can learn from them and they can sponge from him, just like AJ's doing with Errol Spence and Frank Martin and all those cats and Jermel Charlo over there and right up the street in Dallas. Up the street. I think I'm in Austin. Sorry. Right over there in Dallas, right? Same distance, but just a different direction. But he wanted that, and he's like, well, I'm glad it happens. That's how it happens. And, I enjoyed the experience, and this is boxing and this, that, and the other. And to me, guys, listening to that, just that part, because I'm gonna continue, right? Um, Damn, I hope you feel better. Get the zinc and the vitamin D in you. It helped me greatly when I got it. Wesley, the truth, absolutely, man. I gotta get to my uh shit. I have some around here too that I pulled out. But yeah, definitely. You know, who wins? Frank Sanchez versus a prime Luis Ortiz. I don't know. I don't know. Frank's more explosive. He's quicker. Is he a better counterpuncher though? Well, I don't know. I think he's faster at counterpunching, but I don't know. I don't know if he's a better one because I think see Luis Ortiz will catch you with shots, and they're not fast, but they're timed well, and that comes with experience. See, you time speed. So if maybe it's Frank, maybe he will be faster than Luis Ortiz, but maybe Luis Ortiz may catch Frank Sanchez with something that he just won't see because Luis Ortiz, a prime Luis Ortiz, will set it up better. So it would be a firefight for a while. But I think the counterpunching ability from Luis Ortiz, if he catches Frank, I think he would probably hurt Frank. But I think Frank could hurt him too. But let's be real. Luis Ortiz had better punch resistance like 5 years ago. Now it's the shit. It's like maybe 10% versus back then. It might have been 80 or 90. Because Luis Ortiz, if you look at him in the first Wilder fight, he took a lot of those right hands. He took one in the fifth round. He stumbled and fell, but he got back up. You know what I'm saying? So like he got caught with a few before that. It's just that one he caught him with and caught him off guard. Seventh round belonged to him. 8, 9. Then the 10th round he went down finally, but he had to get belted down 3 times. So like this whole thing about Wilder, he's a concussive puncher, but someone like Luis Ortiz did take a lot of shots that I don't think people give him credit for, especially being 39 years of age. Oh, because he turned 39 that month on paper. um, Prime Ortiz, I think, has the better fundamentals. Wesley, the truth, exactly. Now, I said all that to say exactly what you said. Kurt, it's best to wear a mask when out. Yeah, yeah. I just never believed in wearing one in my car. I see people driving around and shit with it. And they're always looking the same way. They're like, I'm like, dude, that's just, come on, bro. That's fucking scary. Stop. You're in your car and you got a mask on. It'd be different if they're in there with someone else and they don't want to affect. Yeah, that's different, bro, because you don't know where other people's germs are. But come on, you're in there by yourself. AJ didn't want to train with Garcia boxing. Don't know. He won't stay in Dallas for longer either. Amy, dead yet? Hey, Kurt. Hey. What's up? X Ace 99X. Ika Barabucci would have given Usyk problems. Yeah, because he wouldn't let Usyk own him. Yeah, but Cubans built different, bro. Look at Romero. He was old for the fight game and made a hell of a run. Yeah, he was. He the one that told on Luis Ortiz. You guys know that? He's the one that cracked that shit wide open. How old are you, Luis Ortiz? 39 años. And they're like, no, you're not. Somebody asked Luis Ortiz, man, how old are you? He said, fuck you. Because he knew that he was trying to make fun. Oh, please, Ortiz is at least 65. You're actually better off to get some bacteria around you and not cut off with mask or immunity must be tested for the work. It's truth to all that shit. It was actually Angel Fernandez who picked Robert Garcia. Yeah, that's what I heard. Because he wanted to work with somebody where he could feel comfortable. But AJ said, this is an interview, but why did AJ allow this? He thought the shit was going to work. He trusted his team. And that just goes to show you when you don't make decisions by your fucking self. And I hope Derek James is something or a decision that he made by his fucking self. That's what happens. Prime Luis Ortiz would beat Deontay Wilder. Of course. A prime Luis Ortiz could beat Tyson Fury, might I dare say. A prime Luis Ortiz could beat Tyson Fury. Even Tyson Fury said that. Tyson Fury said, well, his legs are 100 years old. He would crush Wilder if he was in his prime, but he's just not. But Ortiz was also prime at the same time as Ali. You motherfuckers are wrong, man. You guys are wrong for that. I remember when the knowledge, man, I got to bring him back on the channel. Stamina for Sale. If you haven't subscribed. Him and Tonde is on there. Tonde is the trainer of Anthony Yard. So, along with other fighters. Ronnie Shields, Who's Ronnie Shields training these days? He used to train Lotta. I forget. I don't know. I mean, he's training some guys though. Green tea with ginger and honey will CP that bug, Kurt. Great. Appreciate you, man. Chrissy, Kurt, who would you choose as a trainer? That's a very good question. Who would I choose as a trainer? Huh. I don't know, man. That's a very good question. One reason and one reason alone, AJ doesn't have the IQ to manage his own career. Fight fan 30. Ortiz was one of the 12 disciples. Ortiz did beat Wilder. Ortiz did beat Wilder in their first fight. I mean, he outpointed a lot of that. Wilder was beating. I mean, Ortiz beat Wilder on the scorecards before he stopped him, but that doesn't mean he won. Just get that shit straight. He didn't beat Wilder. He was beating Wilder both times. He was outboxing Wilder. He was showing Wilder how you do it. He just got caught in the second fight. I'm like, damn, motherfucker, you got to the 7th round, and that's when his ass went down. Bars, and Wilder was looking for that one shot. See, that's what makes Wilder dangerous, because Wilder don't think about none of those rounds. He just knows, hey, how many do I have left before I give this guy my right, then my left. Both Charlos were trained by Ronnie Shields at first. Absolutely. Kurt tried to get Audley Harrison. Okay. Sugar Hill. I'd probably go with Emmanuel Stewart, though, if he was still alive. But I know you guys asked me, like, who would I go with now? But let me continue this interview.
Well, at the announcement press conference for his fight with Jermaine Franklin, obviously Anthony did a number of interviews, and he was slightly frustrated by kind of your past comments, suggesting that maybe in the build up to the Usyk fight in the final few rounds, he'd lost the fight mentally. He said that you had a lot to say, which kind of baffled him. I was going to get your thoughts on his reaction to some of your comments and that side of things.
Well, you know what? Obviously, a fighter in the ring is always going to be challenged.
Scott, how does this work?
Well, yeah. Sorry. Let's go back. Here you go.
Obviously, a fighter in the ring is always going to be challenged by so many things that people could say after the fight. You know what? Just because I was his trainer doesn't mean I'm going to lie about it. I wasn't the only one that said that. Then he should be mad and he should be frustrated with the whole world, because mostly everybody said the same thing. When you have a fighter and just so good in one round, which you're almost about to stop your opponent, it does make a big difference when the next round is totally the opposite. So there was a lot to be said by so many boxing people, so many boxing experts, because I'm not the only one that said that, and then what happened after the fight when he grabbed the mic and all that, I think that was a lot of frustration. I think that had to do with maybe knowing that you were so close and you let it go. Maybe a little bit of embarrassment, maybe a little bit, because that reaction wasn't the right reaction, that a fighter normally takes. You don't see it that often. So it wasn't just me that said he was frustrated and that he was a little, I don't know, could be a little ashamed of his performance. But, at the end, I know that the work with me and Angel Fernandez wasn't bad either. I could have been better. Honestly, it could have been better, but nobody knows, nobody mentions, nobody knows and nobody mentions everything that went through training camp, and I'm not going to mention it either. But we all know everything that went to training camp. We all know everything that went on sparring days. We all know, the way our the training camp went. But that was then. Now I think he's in a great position, in a great place, in a great training camp. I'm pretty sure he's going to be in great shape, and he's going to get a good solid win for his next fight to be against a big name. It could be against any of the top heavyweights.
So, as we heard, Kurt, have you heard of what is it? Have you heard of the new fighter on the block called Kid Austin in 135 division? He's like a power puncher, switch hitter. Yeah. I don't like how Robert Garcia copying, please. What the fuck does what everybody else say to have to do with you? You were his trainer. Listen, Smith and Wesson, you are absolutely right, and that's exactly what I was about to counterpunch. You're like, well, I ain't the only one that said that. Listen, it don't matter what everybody else says. It matters what you say, because what you say reflects the fighter. You're closest to the fighter. Who else is as closest to the fighter than the trainer? So if you say reckless or tactless shit like that, people are going to take it like, damn, AJ really fall off if his trainer was doing that for him. Ikramudin Zain, you were his trainer. If it was your job to protect him no matter what the world said, the man is just salty. A salt content higher than the Dead Seas. Damn. Appreciate that super chat, brother. No, you got a point there. Just exactly what we're talking about. Exactly. Like, he's trying to say, well, I ain't the only one that said it. Yeah, he didn't snitch anyone else out. Now, if he would have said, well, Angel said the same thing, well, that would have included Angel. And then you had two separate people that are now saying the same shit about 8th Anthony Joshua. But he said, well, other guys, other boxing experts could include Andre Ward. It can include Timothy Bradley. We know damn well Andre Ward and Timothy Bradley don't give a shit about AJ. I remember when 19 coming into 20 rolled around, they got on ESPN, both of those guys, and did a tag team on AJ. And they just said, AJ, we don't think he's good enough to just beat the other guys in the division and all this, that, and the other. So they already, instead of saying, hey, I want to see this fight, let's do this, they gave their analysis on how they felt. So you're not them because they didn't train with AJ. You trained with AJ. And then here's the thing. When everything was fucking flowers and rainbows, all you had to say is, oh, he's so strong. Oh, he has this. He's so quick and fast. I was just blown away with the speed and everything that he had going. Oh, wow. We're having a lot of goodness. Now we're hearing all this other shit. You know how you go from one round to this round. That's easy. The motherfucker was tired. And if you let a coach pick your other coach, that's a problem. So I blame both guys. Robert, he shouldn't have said what he said to everybody. He should have said that to AJ. At least AJ would have knew that. Like, dude, I think you were mentally broken. Now, my integrity would not allow me to tell everyone else, but obviously that don't apply to fucking Robert. Robert telling everybody, well, I'm not the only one that said that. Everybody else, all these other boxing people. And I'm like, dude, you forget who you are. It's different if AJ just said something about you if you were someone on the outside, on the outskirts, out of that circle. You're in that circle. Motherfucker, you're right by the dot. And the dot is AJ. You are there. It's you. It's Angel Garcia and it's Robert, Angel Fernandez, then it's Robert Garcia. Right? So you got these three guys. They are in the inner cortex of what's supposed to be happening. And I like how he dressed it up like, oh, I think he's going to do well. He's going to get a solid win. Oh, well, that's good. But like what you said made no sense. What you said made no sense at all. you know, and you do come off sounding bitter because you said that he could have done this because basically this is how Robert told the world about AJ. He said he told AJ this. He did so well one round, and then the next round he did totally opposite, and he should, and I guess he felt embarrassed, like he just let it go, you know. And it's like, okay, well, you're saying stuff like that, mentally challenge, and in what now? Key word now. They understand something. None of this video he said, oh, those things I said were taken out of context. He never said that they were. Okay. And I think that Robert knew what the fuck he said. Like I told you, I speak Spanish and English. If you say something in Spanish, it's around the same thing. It's around the same shit. Voy conmigo afuera. Go the fuck outside. That's what I just said. You know what I mean? Look, it's a, you know, siéntate. Sit your ass down. Caminar conmigo. Come on, walk with me. This same shit. You can't make me say, oh man, I really didn't say walk with me. You know what it's Delaries? You know what I mean? Yes, that's exactly what you said. He said he thought he was mentally broken. Motherfucker, I know what you said. You just said that shit and you didn't think it would get back to AJ. Because, you know, you can't talk shit about a person and then still want that fucking money because it's all about money at the end of the day. You know, I think it's all about that cash. I think the cash affected Robert Garcia. I think the deep pockets affected his decision to train properly. I think Robert Garcia belongs with other guys that are his size or smaller so he can properly talk to them and call them pendejo and muévete, cabrón, and all this other shit and slap them around. He should have done that to AJ if that's what he did because that's what he said that he would do. You guys remember when Robert Garcia, I did a video on it. He said, I will give him a slap if he's not listening to me. You guys remember that? Let me take care of this super chat real quick. We got Pterodactyl coming in with that 20. That duh. Let's see. Garcia salty that he wasn't head coach, but on camera saying him and Fernandez were on the same page. However, on the fight night, Garcia was outside the ring. I'm sure, like most boxers, not everything in camp smooth, good, and bad. Listen, Pterodactyl, appreciate you, first of all. You didn't have to, but you did. Keep them coming. However, let's say this. Let's do this, okay? I don't know what his position was. I don't know if he was higher than Angel or not. I guess if Angel had the ability to hire him, I guess Angel was higher. I guess that's safe to say. But at the end of the day, if I don't give a shit who hires me, that's not going to affect or stop the way I feel about coaching anyone or instructing someone or overseeing anyone. That's all really the same shit. Let's look at it this way. Why do you think Wilder didn't like Mark Breland? This is pretty much the same shit, right? Because Mark Breland wanted to do more with Deontay Wilder than Deontay Wilder's team wanted him to do. Okay? That's what happened. The only difference is Mark Breland had fucking integrity, and at some point Mark Breland was like, fuck it. But that wasn't always Mark Breland. Mark Breland was told, yo, don't make Wilder do this. He's knocking motherfuckers. I could hear Shelly Finkel. He's knocking motherfuckers out. Mark, please just do your job. Don't do it. Don't make him do all this other stuff, okay? Okay, don't make him do this other stuff. Right? So I think but at least Mark tried to show Wilder something. Fucking Robert probably seen that and was like, you know what? Fuck it. I ain't going to say nothing. I'm getting paid. So I ain't going to say what happens. And see, that's what makes it so worse, people. That's what makes it worse. This whole shit show of these interviews that he's making and saying that, hey, I can say the good things and the bad things. Motherfucker, I don't think you said anything. And you didn't say anything when it mattered. See, if it mattered, you had to say it then. If it was important, you would have said it then. You wouldn't have waited and said, "Oh, I think he was mentally broken. I think he wasn't ready. I think he was this, he was that." But at the end of the day, you said that at the wrong time. See, that hindsight shit, it's good to talk then, but it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anything. You know, because see, even though Angel Fernandez hired him, that's not going to stop him. Like, hey, y'all, because see, I know Robert Garcia, okay? I know the man when he was a fighter, like when he lost his title to Diego Chico Corrales, and and a lot of guys that he fought. He fought a lot of guys. I followed Robert Garcia. He's a warrior. He was a hell of a fighter. He just did not have the chin. He couldn't handle big shots from guys that were bigger, like Diego Corrales and stuff like that. He didn't have that. That's ultimately why he got out of the game, because he wanted to scrap, because he's an Aztec warrior, but he couldn't take those shots, so he would get hurt and stop because he'd be trying to do too much too fast, and or whatever, too much at one time. And I do remember him as a trainer, and I know both aspects of Robert Garcia, okay? So it ain't like I don't know who the fuck he is. I've been watching this man for years, okay? Years, since the mid 90s. Okay, and he was a fast fighter. He was a courageous fighter. He had a lot of good fights, right? And then he became a trainer, and he was equally successful. But one thing I know about him, the same way he taught or trained was the same way he fought. And the same way he fought was aggressive, was with passion. And I seen him. When I heard that Anthony Joshua picked Robert Garcia, I didn't diss him like a lot of those cats. Oh, he ain't black. Why you ain't getting no black fighter? I don't give a fuck about none of that. All I wanted him to do was give and to show the passion that it took to hype Anthony Joshua up, to get his ass, to motivate him off that stool, to get up there and to knock that guy out. Do you guys understand why Emmanuel Stewart was the way he was? Because he didn't sugarcoat shit. He didn't care if it was any of the Klitschko's or Lennox Lewis or any of these superstar legends. He didn't care. What would he tell them? You got to get your ass up there, man. You're going all this up and down shit. Get in there and punch. You're sitting there like you're scared of something. Get in there and throw them fucking shots. If you don't throw them, you're not going to win. I'm telling you. He would tell Lennox that. He would tell Vlad that. He would tell anybody that. But why did he do that? Because he didn't give a fuck about the money. He cared about the job. And I've seen Robert do that. I seen that aggression. I seen what it takes to be a good trainer. And I didn't see that night when Robert Garcia, I just seen him. That's all I saw. I didn't see shit else. I didn't see that machismo. I didn't see that slap. Motherfucker, get in there. Look, the Robert Garcia that I knew, after the 9th round, when AJ had him and back, and he was getting at Usyk, and Usyk was kind of, looked like he was fading, and then Usyk was like, damn, it looked like he's going to get it. Robert Garcia should have exploded. He should have exploded, people. Okay? He should have fucking exploded. That should have been an explosion of passion. Like, listen, Anthony, you need to get this motherfucker out of there. You almost had him. I need another round like that. I need 10. I need 11. I need 12. We need to make sure this guy doesn't get out of this round because we don't know what the judge is going to say. You need to get him, cabrón. That's how you do it. Eso sí que es, cabrones. Vamos, vaya. Right? He should have done that. And we didn't see none of that shit. Why do you think I'm saying this? I'm saying all this because I've seen Robert Garcia say that before. He had that same type of passion when El Chino Maidana hurt Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather. He hurt Mayweather. And he said, damn. And he told him, you need to do whatever you need to do to fucking win this guy. ¿Estás listas, cabrón? Sigue trabajando así. He was saying that type of shit. Keep on going the way you were, if you don't know what I just said. Okay, so that's what he was saying. And I see none of that shit when AJ went in the corner of AJ. That's why I'm convinced that he was just there for a fucking paycheck. I'm sorry. He was just there for a fucking paycheck. You know? Karn, AFC 84. Kurt, I hope you're well. Breland was definitely hampered as to what he was allowed to implement in Wilder's training camp. We already know that. His son said that. A lot of people said that. JD's just kept quiet because he wanted to keep his job. He didn't give a fuck what type of job he had. He wanted to keep it because, you know, JD's, I get it. He wasn't a real trainer. He's more like a football coach. And he was like, dude, I want to keep my fucking job because I want to keep that check. Whatever he has going on, maybe he needs to take care of a big ass house he paid for in Alabama or whatever, or wherever he lives. He needed to keep that. So he quieted. That's it. That he didn't say anything about that. And the people that should have been looking after or watching or wanting an interview was JD's, and nobody said shit about him to him. Because he was told to keep quiet, shut your fucking mouth, don't say a thing. Okay? Yep, but it's still on AJ. Cap, who's no or whatever. You're right. And let me say this. I did all that preaching about boxing to say this. I'm glad you humbled me. What is it? Cap Husinho. Cap Husinho. Cap Husinho. Okay, listen. Ultimately, it is up to the fighter to perform. Okay, that's the main line. Regardless of what Robert Garcia did do or didn't do. Okay, he could have motivated AJ. I just didn't see it. That's all I'm saying. But it's ultimately up to AJ. They can't fight for you. Those trainers can't fight for you. Your team, your entourage, your woman, your concubines, your wife, or whatever. Nobody can do that for you at all. But you. They're all there for a check. Hell yeah, they're there for a check. He was just there for a bigger check. Virgil Ortiz versus Imantas Stanionis. Are you going to watch it, Kurt? Yeah, I'm going to watch that. That's going to be a badass fight, bro. Two undefeated fighters. Garcia wouldn't be talking like this now if he wasn't just for the money. I mean, now he doesn't give a shit. And see, that what tells me he was just there for the money and not really the project of making AJ better or to give AJ a W, because like no one does that. See, if you were a fighter, I mean a trainer, and you had a objection, the last thing I would say is like, hey, the fighter failed or the fighter didn't do this. No. You should have been more upset with yourself because, you know, that's your responsibility. And ultimately, that is true. That is the responsibility. Okay. Garcia is very disrespectful. Garcia wouldn't be talking like this now if it wasn't for the cash. Pterodactyl coming in with a half a duh. Fernandez did not pick the right trainer for AJ. Picked on familiarity, Spanish speaking. He was there for the bag. I don't see an African American allowing Angel to take full control like that. Well, guess what? Pterodactyl, appreciate it once again. You guys get like Pterodactyl. Understand this. This is the only question you need to ask yourself when it comes down to that. Okay? Okay? Did Derek James do it? Did the trainer he has now, did he let anyone come over in his gym and tell him how the fuck it's done? No, he didn't. And I think this is going to be more successful. Here's the silver lining for AJ. I think he's with someone that he is actually taking control over. I think he's taking control of his career. I think if he really wanted to quit, he wouldn't even went to Derek James. He wouldn't have went to the best. He wouldn't have went to someone that he's already had some type of quarrel or issue with. And what I mean, and who I mean by that is Errol Spence. 3 or 4 years ago, Errol Spence and AJ kind of had some words over social media, if you guys know. Errol's like, well, you just shouldn't have said it's us versus them, Now, y'all over there and you do what you need to do, that type of stuff, right? So, he can't whip AJ in public for not fighting hard. It would cause a riot. He don't have to whoop him. He could just slap the shit out of him like Felix Trinidad Sr. You don't have to whoop nobody to hamp you up. Just slap the shit out of a person. Now, to be fair, though, I was talking to a guy that I was in a corner. And I was like, hey, man, stop that. Because he was tired. And he was Like, you know how fighters they're tired, and what they do, they want to hug and fight, and because they're so tired, they get here, or they get here and then they start just kind of, doing that little pat shit. I'm like, dude, stop doing that. You know what I mean? Take a step back, throw your shots, land your shots, work to body, head. That's what I was telling him. He had some good body punches. This motherfucker headbutted me. He headbutted me. I'm like, this cocksucker just headbutted me. I shoved his head off and just fucking went out of the ring. Like, I ain't saying nothing else to this cocksucker. And he continued getting the shit beat out of him. True story. True fucking story, people. Kurt, we're living in a golden era where heavyweights division in the fighters like Wilder and Fury are ducking the rest. Fury only fought White because he got knocked out by Povetkin. mm. Well, I mean, that's believable because think about it. Fury wanted to fight AJ and thought AJ was just going to jump on this thing because AJ was vulnerable and AJ wanted this fight. So AJ, it's your last stand. So AJ, get your ass in the ring. That could have been the case. So, I mean, I can't argue that that's not true because Tyson Fury ain't showed me shit. He ain't showed me nothing new besides beating up people that he's already beat up. And the new person that he did beat and on the new roster was Dillian White because he never professionally fought Dillian White. The only problem with Dillian White is Dillian White has been already beaten by two other people. So, I mean, it really don't really matter at that point. Like, you didn't do it. There's nothing significant Tyson Fury did. If you tell me something significant that he did and I could buy, then I would gladly purchase it if it was a valid, worth buying thing. So I'm not anti Tyson Fury anything. I just question his resume and then what he's really doing in the sport. I question why the fuck he came back, because the whole thing is he's supposed to want to come back and fight for free or fight for 500 million pounds or I'm not coming back at all. I beat Dillian White so I can sell off in the sunset. I'm like, that's not a big significance. You're supposed to be the best fighter in the world. You selling yourself short, Jack. You're supposed to be in a situation where you are fighting Joe Joyce and then, Philip Hergovic and then Zili Zhang, then Anthony Joshua, then Joe Joyce, then, you're supposed to be fighting like all these top dudes. You know what I mean? And then, then fight someone like Jared Anderson and allow him to see how good he's got versus how good you still are. That's a real guy that's really the best. Based on how Tyson Fury describes his mental illness and what he needs to keep healthy mentally, he needs to fight every fucking body across the board and not stop until he can't no more. And hopefully that's enough to fulfill his mentalness with the small goals, because if he's so much better than all of them, they're regarded as a smaller goal anyway. So, I mean, if he could do anything that's worthwhile, I would, if he beats Usyk, if he fights fucking Usyk, which I don't know if he will or not, but if he fights and beats Usyk, I will be impressed. Especially if the version of Usyk comes in, that shows me something different, but then maybe I would still have to give him credit because he still did it. You know what I'm saying? He still did it. Did Super Chat ask for a code when you sent it? Oh, I don't know about that. AJ should have got a southpaw sparring partner before he took Usyk for a rematch. I don't know, man. I don't know. But see, I side AJ too, because AJ, and that's another reason those sales are fucked up. Sales are fucked up because of who he chose. He chose Jermaine Franklin. Listen, if anything, this is what Eddie Hearn could have done. Eddie Hearn could have orchestrated a rematch with Dillian White, but Dillian White thinks he's up here, and he's probably right here. Maybe he's right here. You know what I'm saying? And you got like guys like Wilder, then then like Joshua, they're up here, and then like Fury's up here, and then Usyk's up there. But here's why. This is White, okay? He's here. He's not up here. And I think that's his problem. I think, he feels that he's a lot better than he really is. So we don't get to see fights like fucking Otto Vailene. We should, we don't know how that fight would have came out. Charles Martin. Come on, man. You're not, I don't look at these fighters better than any of these other damn fighters. That's how Jermaine Franklin, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. How do you think these guys got known? They got known because they were unheard of and they normally wouldn't get the opportunity. And they got it. And guess what? They showed up and they showed out. Facts. Kurt, who would win versus a prime Luis Ortiz versus Alexander Usyk, the battle of the Southpaw? Well, because a prime Ortiz, though, had bounce in his step. And Ortiz has, I think, 81-inch reach. He has some pretty long reach. But did that mean he would be able to deal with Usyk? I think he would attack Usyk more. And and see, thing about Luis Ortiz, he's not scared of anybody. That's why I got knocked out by Wilder. He wasn't scared of him. And I think if he would have feared if he would have feared the punching power of Wilder, he probably would have lasted a lot longer. Or he probably would have just beat him by decision. Luis Ortiz had the boxing ability to beat him. Just outpoint him, outwork him, outthink him. But he was trying to make a stank. He was trying to make a buzz. He's always trying to take your head off. And then because of that, he put himself in a situation to get knocked out. But to answer your question, a prime Luis Ortiz would attack Usyk. And he would do it in, the way, like those uppercuts. Because, believe it or not, Ortiz is a counter puncher. So he's always waiting for the counter. Now, the question is, will Usyk be too fast for his counters? But like I said, he has decent timing. So he may hit Usyk with shots that Usyk may not be familiar with. It would be a very, very good fight. A prime Luis Ortiz, I think, could whoop Derek Chisora, Dillian White, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, possibly Tyson Fury, more than likely. Possibly Tyson Fury. But he could have whooped all those guys. And guess what? He was absolutely avoided. But then what didn't help him is those drug tests coming back, popping dirty, pissing hot. Fury's a common and plain and simple. Fury's a con man, plain and simple. Moonshine 9. Okay. At some point you gotta walk the talk. You can't just talk. Well, Vincent, I agree with that. You can't do that. Without a mind game, Fury be lost. Fury versus Usyk isn't happening. Trust me. I don't know. If Wilder hit White, damn, there would be no White. Well, in these fights, and here's the thing, though. Dillian White has made good money, but I think the fights that he turned down, and I honestly think it's a big ball of karma. Why do I say that? Because this whole time, Dillian White, because this is why I started scratching my head at Dillian White. Dillian White, to speak on him thoroughly, or briefly too, and thoroughly, he had a choice to fight Charles Martin. He said, I don't want to give him a payday. So I was like, okay, that's kind of shitty because you're talking to the former IBF heavyweight champion of the world. You're too good to fight Charles Martin, but AJ ain't. I just think that's a problem. You fought Joseph fucking Parker. Joseph Parker didn't have that belt long. He got it. He beat Andy Ruiz for the vacant title. If you guys can remember, if I can remember correctly, you fought him. So I don't really understand why he looked at Charles Martin like, oh, he's just doing this. And because you remember, Dillian White's supposed to fight over here in the States, and that never happened. But he picked Jermaine Franklin. Now, see, him picking Jermaine Franklin, you still pick Jermaine Franklin. But what did Jermaine Franklin do? That motherfucker fought good enough to steal your position of where you supposed to be right now. Counterpunch. You should have went on ahead and fought Charles Martin. It ain't about, oh, I don't want to give people a payday. You supposed to want fighters to have a payday. You're supposed to like the idea of other fighters supporting their family and the people around them. You should like that idea. Why are you trying to hoard the money thinking you're the only fucking person that makes money? That's some old Floyd Mayweather shit in my book. I don't want anybody get famous, get rich off my name. Man, fucking why not? Why, Floyd? Then that just shows you a lot about a person. It does. It really does. I just want to see Joe Joyce retire White. That would be fucking badass. See, and then here's the thing. We can't get a fight like that. Now, Daniel Dubois and I think Daniel Dubois, Dillian White, somebody asked for too much money. Somebody asked for too much money. I still think AJ should have taken the Wallin fight to set up the Fury fight. Well, C. Smith and West, that's why I side-eyed AJ, because he didn't want to fight a southpaw. I'm like, that's exactly what you should do. Because if that's where you have the problem is fighting a southpaw, you want to fight a southpaw, probably not as good, but a southpaw that is credible to a certain degree. And if you could stop that southpaw like Otto Wallin, you could do something that the first guy beat him couldn't do. Tyson Fury. But no, they're not thinking that way. They're not thinking. And Otto Wallin has asked for that fight. It wasn't like he was MIA or, out of the loop. He was in the loop. They just didn't want to fight. So I'm like, okay, you're just now picking fucking people you want to fight, which I think that's bullshit. You guys know how I feel about that. I'm a White fan, but he's done. Just looking for the right payday to turn up. I said AJ should have fought Wallin instead of Franklin. Absolutely should have. Robert Garcia, good trainer, but lacks sophistication. Sugar Hill and Usyk trainers never say bad things about their fighters because they are seasoned. Yeah, well, they know not to. It's just a respect thing. You got respect for people. Moonshine 9. I'm a White fan, but his punch resistance doesn't seem to be there. I don't think so either. I think he's still tough, but I don't think he can take the punch. I just don't think he can take these shots. I don't think he's scared, but I think what's his new trainer now? How did I forget his trainer now? White's trainer. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I walk this earth like a cod. Dubois versus Sanchez would be good. Buddy McGirt. There we go. So Buddy McGirt, taught him that crossover style, which was very good. Nobody knew Floyd in the UK. Yeah, so he's surprised that his shit didn't do like you hung out with Anthony Joshua and he got all the damn steam and it was embarrassing. I felt bad for Floyd then, because then Floyd was kind of like, he was just felt out of place and he didn't feel like he belonged. Big buff neck, smiling ass AJ. Yes. Floyd just sitting there like, I don't like this shit. Kurt, who would win, Dillian White or Jarrell Miller? You know what? I actually go for Dillian White on that. I think Dillian White would beat Jarrell Miller. I really do. I don't think Jarrell Miller, I think he's a big guy, but I think he relied on drugs to help shape and mold his physical. And I think because he can't do it at all, he's now damn near 400 pounds. He's like an overfed warthog. Yeah. Years ago, I thought Ortiz was the best heavyweight. His boxing abilities were the best at the division. TV knowledge, how are you, Kurt? I'm good, man. I just have this cough. If I could get rid of this cough, I'll be all right. My fever's gone. The body aches are gone. The sweats are still kind of there, which kind of represents the fever. But other than that, I'm okay. But back to AJ and Robert. Yeah, they should never train it. They should never again. And I think AJ would be a fool to get Robert Garcia again. I just think it's bad for business, and I think it's just a disrespectful uh, position that he took. He didn't have to take that position. He just wanted people to hear him talk, to hear his side. Kurt, how do you look at the fight between Wallin versus Usyk? I think Usyk outpoints him. I think he's faster. I think he's a better boxer. I don't think Wallin even hits hard enough to give him a worry. If anything, those guys probably hit the same type of way. They probably punch with the same punching power. I would like to see it though, because Wallin will fight. And a fighter like that, probably the style of Eileen, the way he throws a lot of shots, it would give a lot of opportunities for counters for Alexander Usyk. It would look like a very, very good fight. It will probably put you in the mind of like maybe a Chris Bird and David Hay, maybe. Lewis fake trainer in the corner. White versus Triple D would be a good cage. Would be a good would wait be good gauge of both. Yeah. Buddy McGirt crap though. I think he was doing well. I think the crossover, that jab, he stuck it in Franklin's face, and he actually, if anything, won the fight with his jab. He could have kept it like that. Why are people still on about Wallin? Did you see his last fight? I haven't, but I will. Ikaber versus Bucci versus Lewis. I think Ikaber Bucci knocks out Lennox Lewis. I think he knocks him out. I think he beats Evander Holyfield on points. I'm near the O2. We don't care about Floyd. We like the real fighters. Yeah. Ike is a scary man. Yeah, he was. He's still scary though. If you see him, he looks like a big ass buffalo. But he's crazy. He's crazy, man. He's crazy enough. But yeah. Back to Robert Garcia. Yeah, I think he should stick to fighting guys that he actually can talk to in the right way to get them to do the things that he wants them to do. I don't think he did that with AJ. I don't think he pushed him, but I think he had, surprisingly a lot to say after the fact, where he could have been saying these things to AJ. And at least AJ would have accepted him. Okay, this is real. This, I can accept this. I can respect that, because he is telling me in between rounds, this is what you ain't doing versus what you should be doing. And I don't think he did that. I think he waited Angel Fernandez out, took it easy out, took that damn check, and then acted a fool, then went home. But anyway, guys, I'm glad you guys could spend some time with me live. You guys tell me what you think of Robert Garcia versus Anthony Joshua. Of course, you guys be safe, and all of you guys has been Counterpunch. Peace.